This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Friday, the 9th day of February in the year 2024. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting, and here's what we're tracking tonight. Support for the thousands of teachers on strike across the country continues to grow as the government remains unhinged, with no indication that it is prepared to meet with the teachers' union to begin salary negotiations at this time. From Region 1 to Region 10, teachers continue to stay away from their classes today, instead choosing to protest for better wages and salaries. In Linden, hundreds of teachers marched through the downtown area in the town in loud protest, gathering outside the Education Department. Once there, they were addressed by General Secretary of the Guyana Teachers Union, Coretta MacDonald, who told them that they will not be letting up and will not be giving up the fight.
I want you to understand, teachers, that we are the molders of the nation. We are the agents of change, and we will change this situation now. We will make a change, because this change is not about us only. This change is about the teachers who are in training college right now. This change is about the teachers who will come after us. This change is about our children who have to sit in the classroom.
Back in Georgetown, hundreds of teachers with their supporters marched along Brick Dam, demanding that the government engages the union on the matters of salary increases and non-salary benefits. Among those who stood in solidarity with the teachers was former teacher and popular newspaper columnist J.H.K. Lal, who told News Source that the government should have made adequate provisions in this year's $1.1 trillion budget to pay public servants a decent salary.
We had to have, when we were constructing the budget, to have put together those pieces that thought about the people. And about the people means those people who are out here, our brothers and sisters, teachers, nurses, pensioners, policemen, soldiers, the poor of Guyana who are looking at this massive oil patrimony and saying, where is my little pinch of it?
He said the budget was passed with very little for public servants.
I was a volunteer teacher for 8 years when I first came back here. And I know the agony, the anguish of teachers day in, day out, especially around the middle and the third weeks of the month when they are waiting to get paid. They're on empty. They are running on empty, and the cost of living was not that steep and it was not that pressuring at that time. Prices have run away from all of us. I'm a remigrant and I can tell you about the impact of prices, and I shouldn't. I have no income here, but the fact of the matter is that the people who work here, who work for virtual slave wages, need to get something more. Teachers fall in that category.
Meanwhile, attorney at law and chartered accountant Christopher Ram, who also stood on the picket line with the teachers, said by failing to engage the teachers' union, the government is acting in breach of the labor laws of the country.
It's not an unreasonable call at all. In fact, anything that is unreasonable is the government's refusal to pay teachers and indeed public servants generally a more realistic wage. I think it's an unconstitutional position that the government has taken in relation to negotiating with unions, or in not negotiating with unions.
While noting that the government has the resources to facilitate a proper salary increase, the attorney said when one considers the national budget that was recently passed, it appears that the government does not regard the salaries of public servants in its list of priorities. Opposition parliamentarian Amanza Walton-Desir said the teachers are not being unreasonable in their demand.
When you look at it, Guyana is paying somewhere around the fourth lowest salaries to teachers in the Caribbean. And our GDP growth far outstrips the rest of the CARICOM countries. They're not being unreasonable in what they're asking for. What they're asking for, they are entitled to, and the fact is that we have the fiscal space to do it.
The opposition MP also said the government needs to do the right thing and address the concerns and demands of the teachers and meet with their union.
And I notice he's talking about wage sustainability. We have shown how if you cut the wastage that is happening in the public infrastructure program, you will have enough money to pay teachers, public servants a livable wage. But what happens is that JAGDIP does not want to cut spending on public infrastructure because that is how they engage in their corruption. And so budget after budget after budget, whilst he talks about the unsustainability of wages, you will see them having a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger public infrastructure program. And they're doing nothing to cut the wastage.
The Guyana Teachers Union plans to continue the strike action into the new week. More news coming up in just a moment.
Thursday, February 22nd, we're heading to the biggest wet fed of MASH, Splashamani 2024 at the Guyana National Stadium. Enough water, pulse, enough soca. The night before the holiday, soca star Problem Child. Hola Tunji. Splashamani, the official wet fed of MASH 2024. Problem Child, Olatunji, and more to be added. Come, let's soak you down in water and soca. Early bird tickets $3,000. Brought to you by Hits and Jams Entertainment.
Fireside Suite standard and unique. Room fresh and nice, comfortable and neat. 24-hour whole day we a do it. Affordable price on a Garnet Street, yo. Can't vex, cause we top of the line. Fireside are the best, 5-star we a shine. From you come one time, we tag a left on your mind. To tell your family, your friend, them one more time say. Best service a Fireside Suite. Safety ensured on a Fireside Suite. Price them cheap on a Fireside Suite. Come enjoy your stay on a Fireside Suite. Fireside Suite located at 154 Garnet Street, Kitty. For bookings and reservation, call contact number 623-3473.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Bust the flavors. We're full of flavors. Bust the flavors, that me crave for. We're full of flavors. Tell your neighbors about the bust the flavors. Grab a bust the flavors. Yeah, thirst buster. Grab a buster. Bust the flavor, taste the savor. Bust the flavors. Bust the flavors.
With the strike by teachers across the country growing and appears set to enter its second week on Monday, the APNU AFC opposition believes more than $20 billion could be redirected in this year's budget to cater for a proper and significant salary increase for teachers and other public servants. At a press conference yesterday, opposition leader Aubrey Norton said $20 billion could be taken from the recurrent budget, which currently totals more than $480 billion. But Vice President Barra Jagdeo said such a move could affect critical government programs. But the opposition leader said a careful analysis of the government's recurrent expenditure would reveal significant room for optimization and reallocation of resources to pay all public servants a significant increase.
For instance, If we maintain certain budget lines at the 2023 level, we're justified, or even consider a 5% increase, we could redirect approximately $20 billion towards improving the lives of hardworking taxpayers in Guyana. This can be achieved without imposing undue strain on the overall budget sum of $1.146 trillion. For example, we can reallocate funds as follows. 38 million from refreshment and meals, leaving the government with 504 million for this purpose. I want to repeat that. This budget has 504 million for refreshment and meals. If we take 38 million from that, we can reallocate it. 2.7 billion from dietary expenditures, allowing the government to still spend 10.7 billion for dietary needs. 486 million from national and other events, providing the government still with 1.7 billion for such occasions.
It was also proposed that $8 billion be taken from the budgeted sum for miscellaneous expenses and another $2 billion from print and non-print materials, leaving the government with $3 billion.
By strategically reallocating funds from these and other areas, we can easily achieve the 20 billion redirection without significantly disrupting the recurrent program in budget 2024. This approach ensures that our financial resources are used efficiently and effectively, prioritizing the needs of our poor and vulnerable citizens while maintaining the integrity of essential government services.
Mr. Norton said government could even have more resources if it cuts down on corruption. But the Vice President Bara Jagdeo, in responding to the opposition leader, brushed aside the proposal. Mr. Jagdeo said the reallocation of $20 billion to wages and salaries would hamper important government programs. Citing an example, he said the removal of $2.7 billion from dietary expenditures could affect the national school feeding program.
The growth is because we've expanded the school feeding program under dietary, not for ministers to eat, but for our children to have more meals in school. That's where we're putting the money in.
Similarly, he explained that to reduce the allocations for print and non-print materials would negatively impact the provision of textbooks in public schools. It was noted that textbooks alone allocate for more than $2.5 billion. And the Vice President also rubbished the allegations of corruption and wastage. Mr. Norton said the government appears to be more concerned on how many contracts are being doled out for roadworks to associates of the party than the wider concerns of citizens. But Mr. Jagdeo said that's not the issue.
He said we awarded a 4-lane road and we're paving it now. Now we are paving the road from the Kitty Roundabout right down to where the new road started by Better Hope. That piece has deteriorated on both sides, but that's not where we awarded the contract. The man said we awarded a contract to build the 4-lane road and they would have to, it's a waste of money now, corruption. The contract has been awarded for the 4-lane on the railway embankment.
The Vice President accused the opposition leader of making wild accusations against the government on the issue of corruption. The government is seeking to increase security at the country's various ports of entry, according to President Air. Speaking in the Private Sector Commission's corporate dinner earlier this week, the President said Guyana has already entered into agreements with the United Kingdom and Canada to boost the country's port security. He said there will be an increase in the use of technology at ports of entry, which the government believes would be necessary to improve investor confidence in the system and to also reduce wait time. President Ali also said the planned increase in security at the ports of entry forms part of the government's push to build out the country's security architecture by increasing the use of technology. He also said the country's ports of entry will fall under a national body so that there can be some form of accountability. Additionally, President Ali said the government is working to ensure that the country's exclusive economic zone is completely secured. Discussions are ongoing with a number of other countries to lend support to Guyana in that area of port security. According to the president, the country's security forces are hard at work while formulating plans to deal with the eventualities of any sophisticated kind of crime given the developments taking place in the country.
At the most critical life-changing moments, the National Insurance Scheme is here to ensure that your needs are covered. Access reimbursement for medical expenses for various aspects of your medical care. We know that eye care is of utmost importance. Receive assistance with our Spectacle Care voucher. Visiting the dentist? Dental care is also covered under our sickness benefit services. Offset the funeral expenses of a loved one with costs covered by our funeral benefits. National Insurance Scheme. We're there every step of the way.
Look at the breathtaking beauty of the Essequibo, from its pristine rivers to its abundant resources. It's a treasure that belongs to Guyana, and we ask Venezuela to respect the rule of international law.
Our commitment to this land is not just about ownership. It's about preserving its beauty and resources for our people and future generations.
The controversy between Guyana and Venezuela was settled internationally as full, perfect and final in 1899. Essequibo belongs to Guyana.
Turning now to the aviation sector, Dominican Republic carrier Sky High Aviation Services has announced that it will launch a scheduled service between Guyana and the Dominican Republic. The airline will begin its service with 3 weekly flights from the 18th of February. The new service is expected to provide convenient and affordable travel options for business and leisure passengers, the airline said. The airline will be using one of its Embraer Air 190 aircraft, which has a 97-seat capacity. The new route is expected to enhance connectivity and boost tourism, trade and investment between the two nations, offering exciting opportunities for cultural exchange and economic growth. Public Works Minister Juan Edgel said the government is thrilled to welcome the new service, adding that the new route aligns with the government's vision of fostering regional integration and creating a robust air transportation network. Sky High Aviation Services is a Dominican Republic-based airline offering scheduled passenger and cargo services across the Caribbean, Venezuela, and the United States. The current route network includes flights to Miami, Caracas, Aruba, Bonaire, Curacao, Antigua, St. Martin, St. Kitts, St. Thomas and St. Croix, Guadeloupe, Martinique, and French Guyana. Well, previously convicted drug trafficker Rohan Rambaran, also known as Sauce, landed in some more hot water this morning when several large parcels of foreign marijuana were discovered in his possession. In a statement, the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit said it conducted an operation in the Eccles area this morning, and during that operation, a vehicle being driven by Rambaran was intercepted. In that vehicle, the agents discovered 5 large bales wrapped with black plastic containing 250 brick-like parcels of marijuana. Agents also discovered 7 live 9mm rounds of ammunition in the man's car. Rambaran was immediately arrested and remains in custody as the investigation gets going. Back in 2008, he was convicted of drug trafficking in Barbados after he was nabbed there with a quantity of cocaine and marijuana. He was released from prison in Barbados in 2019 and deported to Guyana. And this evening, the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit is also announcing the arrest of 39-year-old Sahadia Prashad of Anna Catherine on the west coast of Demerara. He was arrested yesterday as Kanu conducted an intelligence-led operation at Cornelia Ida, where officers intercepted a motor vehicle. A search of that vehicle revealed 10 brick-like parcels wrapped in transparent plastic, and it was found to be cocaine. The man was immediately arrested and taken to the Kanu headquarters. He will face drug trafficking charges in the new week. Meanwhile, the Guyana Police Force reported today that acting on intelligence that it received last night, police ranks from the Maikoni police station intercepted a motor car on the southern side of the Now or Never public road in Maikoni. The driver and registered owner of that car, Ramlal Ramdial, also known as Jack, was the lone occupant in the vehicle. The 38-year-old man was questioned and could not provide a reasonable answer for being in the area. The ranks then conducted a search of the vehicle and found 3 bulky white salt bags in the trunk of the car. A further examination of those parcels revealed several parcels of marijuana with a total weight of 92 pounds. The man was taken into custody and will face charges soon.
Did you know Guy Super 95 gasoline has an octane rating of 95, the highest rating available in Guyana? This premium fuel is known to enhance the performance of your engine, making it run smoother and more efficiently, leading to better fuel economy and improved performance. Choose Super 95 for more mileage and better overall performance.
It's one of your biggest goals, getting your own home, where memories are made, where happiness lives. You may feel that home ownership or renovation is beyond your reach, but we at Republic want you to know that there's always a way. Ask us about our suite of mortgages. Let's help make your housing wishes come true. Or advise on how the equity in your existing home can finance other dreams and goals. Call or go online to learn more.
Look who's in the mix now. The new Buster Soda Water. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 artificial flavors. 100% refreshing. Taste Buster Soda Water today. Buster Soda Water. Now available for only $120.
With your regional and international news tonight, I'm Svetlana Marshall. In the region, former British Virgin Islands Premier Andrew Fahey faces the possibility of life imprisonment after he was found guilty late Thursday evening on drug and racketeering related charges. The sentencing is scheduled for April 29, 2024. Fahy was convicted after a trial that lasted 8 days, with the 12-member jury returning guilty verdicts of conspiracy to import a controlled substance, conspiracy to engage in money laundering, attempted money laundering, and interstate and foreign travel in aid of racketeering. The jury deliberated for just over 4 hours, returning unanimous decision in the case that was brought by United States prosecutors, who, during their opening arguments, described the matter as a straightforward case. The prosecution relied on the information provided by a drug enforcement agency, DEA informant, who had initially made contact with Fahy's co-conspirators, the British Virgin Islands former head of ports and her son. The conspiracy's objective was to bribe BVI authorities to ignore the movement of cocaine-laden ships using the Tortola coastline as a transient haven en route to U.S. ports. In a bold move aimed at reshaping Grenada's agricultural landscape, Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell has advocated for the cessation of nutmeg and chocolate exports from the island. Mitchell shared his thoughts on what Grenada's nutmeg industry can achieve earlier this week as he presented Vision 75, a roadmap for the country's development over the next 25 years. Agriculture is a key pillar in the roadmap. As Mitchell said, it is important for Grenada to be able to feed itself. He said Grenada produces the finest nutmegs hands down, but after 100 years, the island is still exporting its raw nutmegs. Nutmeg has long been hailed as one of Grenada's primary exports, contributing significantly to the nation's economy and global reputation. But the country's nutmeg industry has struggled over the last 2 decades after Hurricane Ivan destroyed over 90% of the fruit-bearing trees. The nutmeg fruit can be used to create food, medicine, and cosmetics. Mitchell said he has suggested ceasing the export of raw nutmegs to the Grenada Cooperative Nutmeg Association, GCNA, but they questioned how they were going to pay farmers. The Prime Minister said his government is willing to work with the GCNA to secure financing for at least 2 years to purchase all raw nutmegs, to stockpile them, and then work towards creating a processing plant where products such as nutmeg oil, syrups, and fat are created locally. And finally tonight, international news. Former Pakistani prime ministers and bitter rivals Nawaz Sharif and Imran Khan on Friday both declared victory in elections marred by delayed results and militant attacks, throwing the country into further political turmoil, according to Reuters. Sharif's party won the most seats by a single party in Thursday's election, but supporters of imprisoned Khan, who ran as independents instead of as a single bloc after his party was barred from the polls, won the most seats overall. Sharif said his party would talk to other groups to form a coalition government as it had failed to win a clear majority on its own. Sharif's announcement came after more than 3/4 of the 265 seats had declared results, more than 24 hours after polling ended on Thursday, when 28 people were killed in militant attacks. Analysts had predicted that there may be no clear winner, adding to the woes of a country struggling to recover from an economic crisis while it grapples with rising militancy in a deeply polarized political environment. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Svetlana Marshall reporting and encouraging you to stay safe.